UFC 281, the battle of the skinny giants. Holy shit, we're only a few days away. Will the last gender bender retain his title, or will the middleweight division face another major threat? And this is why I think Pereira will win and possibly send Izzy to the shadow realm again. But before we get into that, I would really appreciate if you guys could like and subscribe the video. It would mean a lot to me. But yeah, let's not waste any more time. Let's get into it. Izzy is one of the most accomplished fighters in the UFC. On paper, this should be obvious on who's gonna win. I mean, look at the man's record. It's a lot of green. Whilst Pereira, on the other hand, started the UFC just about a year ago. Regardless, let's look at some of Izzy's fights briefly. He has literally wiped out the division. But I'd be lying if I said there weren't some remarks to be made. Now, let's look at the Paulo Costa fight, which many believe to be his last amazing performance. I mean, it is his only finish in the last 2 years, but I don't really credit him this win as much as I credit Paulo Costa for having the shittiest performance in the UFC history. But credit where it's due, his jab, his speed, his presence was just a little too much for Costa to handle. Then he moved up a division, something a few people have been shitting themselves to do, and fought the Polish powerhouse in Jan Blachowicz. He lost, but I believe this was Izzy's best performance, and the fight, although Jan clearly won, it was competitive, and in a rematch he could definitely win. On to the Marvin Vettori rematch fight now. Possibly one of the most boring fights. I mean, I shouldn't even call it a fight, it was like a sparring match. This was the beginning of Izzy's criticisms. Obviously the Romero fight was the beginning, but the Costa fight, it kind of redeemed him. However, this fight was just shit. As much as some experts are gonna claim, oh, you don't know fighting, I enjoyed it very much, I'm not a casual like you, like, just shut up. The dude was happy to cruise to a decision, staying on the outside and spamming leg kicks his way to the last buzzer. Even in the Robert Whittaker fight, he dropped Whittaker with a punch that barely connected. Robert was there for the taking, I felt, every single round, but again, he was happy not risking his bollocks and leg kick to the finish line once again. Ever since Romero landed that overhand right in their boring ass fight, Izzy's adapted this mentality of, oh, I'm the champ, you have to be on the offensive, not me, and just sort of ran with it. It's like, you can't be saying you're feeling dark and feeling some type of way in the press conferences leading to the fight and then showcase another decision machine performance. Well, you can. But then don't get angry at the fans when they fall asleep and complain. When Chris Pratt,
it's a me, a Mario,
the Marvel superhero, when he's calling you out, then you know you're doing something wrong.
I'm just an actor, but I'm not a fan, man. I'm not a fan of coming out like all that talk and then just kind of putting on a little bit of a pitter patter. I'm like, come on, man.
Now the funny thing is, with the Cannonier fight, I thought the opposite. It was the first time I sensed a hint of urgency in the champ. You could tell he wanted to open up and he was thinking of ways to throw different combinations, but Jared wanted no part of it. All boxed up, just happy doing the bare minimum to survive. But Cannonier has been hurt or wobbled really badly in nearly all his previous fights, so you can't blame him too much for his performance against Izzy, because he's just probably really insecure about throwing or overcommitting because of the possible counters and getting hurt again. Now, what is it about Alex Pereira that have people expecting a, dare I say, fun fight against Izzy? Well, to start off by stating the obvious, they've already had 2 fights, and in the first fight, Izzy 100% he got robbed, but in the second fight, he got absolutely obliterated. Nevertheless, they both went at it and it was a fun fight to watch. But I just have to say, Pereira looks like a killer. I haven't seen a scarier looking man since the infamous stare downs of Crow Cop. You can tell a lot about a man through their eyes, and he looks weathered, he looks tested. He has definitely been through some shit. I mean, how can you not when you grew up in the favelas of Brazil? If you watch some of the podcasts he's done, or interviews or videos, whatever, he talks about his struggles as a kid with alcohol addiction and how dirt poor he was, working tedious jobs trying to provide any sort of money for his mother. And the pain he must have endured then, I think it shows in his fight when he's decimating people into the oblivion with that nasty left hook. To my knowledge, he hasn't had one boring fight. He's always game and certainly isn't afraid to just bring it. He's nicknamed Poitin, which means stone hands in the indigenous language, a descendant of those rare indigenous tribes that are never seen with people from outside. Just a true-blooded warrior. Pereira is a world-class kickboxer just like Izzy. He's the same size as Izzy, same reach, he's a bit naturally heavier. We all know his left hook is what puts people to sleep, but I think it's his IQ that needs to be feared, because the fact that many know the punch to look out for and still get caught. Don't get me wrong, I know I'm complimenting him a lot and I've just taken to him a bit more than I have these other fighters because of how he carries himself. You know, everyone's got their preferences, but there are still obvious holes in his striking that Izzy can definitely time and capitalize on and really hurt him. But will he be able to capitalize on those openings? I mean, he seems to think he can.
This time when I put you on skates, I'm gonna leave you frozen like Elsa. Thank you.
I've seen him make a few links to this fight kind of being like the Costa fight.
Bro, this nigga giving me fucking mad Costa vibes, bro.
Which I think is a bit worrying because it's a completely different fighter and skill level. But my point is, I don't know if it's as easily done to be so defensive like he has been in his previous fights to then all of a sudden being able to lurk for openings with the right timing and explosiveness. And he's saying himself, the gloves won't save you this time, like he's actually trying to go for a finish here. Well, I mean, he says that, but I mean, I've learned enough now to be like, I'll believe you when I see it. Regardless, this will be a very fair fight. Both same size, same division, same reach, same backgrounds in that they were both kickboxers in the same organization. But if I had to pick, I'd go with Pereira. Now, it is a very risky pick since he's been in the UFC only a year, and it is against Izzy, a very smart and most important of all, a very reliable and consistent fighter. But hey, I'm going with my gut, and if there's one thing we've learned from this video is that you have to take risks sometimes and put your balls on the line. And if I'm wrong, then so be it. But let me know who you think will win the fight, and if you disagree or agree with some of the points I've made. So if you've made it this far, I hope you enjoyed the video. You know, I'm no editing wizard, so it does take a while to make these videos, but I'd appreciate it if you could subscribe and like the video, and that's all. Peace.